It can't get any worse.
No, it's oh my. Well, welcome to Geeks on Screens with Coffee. It's the 20th of May. I just have to check, and the time is it's about 7:50, 7:10, and about that 7. Oh, I've got a clock. 10:11. Right, 7:11. Oh, I can't. Here's Mark Broadbent. Sorry, I've just.
That's totally ruined.
It has, yeah. All right.
So if the interview's really bad now, it's all your fault. You've started us on a downhill.
Right. Take 2.
I have to warn you.
Go
on, do your take 2 then. Are we doing a take 3?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So okay, you ready? This is in. I mean, this is live. This is it's like the 20th of May. It's about 7, and here's today's guest, Mark Broadbent. There we go, and we're live. This is really take 3, isn't it? So that's
maybe 4.
Sound and vision synced.
So do you like my Minecraft background, by the way?
I do.
I've seen lots of MVPs doing custom backgrounds, and apparently you can hack teams to do that, but I've still not figured out how to do it. So I don't know if you know how to do it.
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, you click on the ellipse. You get the custom backgrounds come up on the side.
You can't load up custom ones, can you?
Are you on a Mac or Windows?
Windows.
Well, yes, you can. Well, in my version, you can browse to a picture and upload it.
Right, okay.
And
because there's a folder somewhere to put them, and they're not coming through. So
and in the Mac version, so there we go. That's in shot, isn't it? There we go.
Yeah.
All right.
So I've got to warn you, by the way, you'll see me doing this a lot, and it's because with my advancing years, I'm getting a double chin. So, or what I could do is get the wife to stand behind me and just do that with my neck.
Yeah, is it one of the alligator clips or something, and it just pulls out?
Like, I could stick it behind the ears, couldn't I?
Yeah. You just need to tighten that up. There we go. Well, we've all got these problems. We've got.
I'm blaming the lockdown.
Are you blaming the lockdown? What, for eating too well?
Yeah, for years of eating and indulging.
All right. Before we go off the rails completely, right? Welcome, Mark, to Geeks on Screen with Coffee.
Having me.
This is like the 26th or 7th of these. What are you drinking tonight?
So this is my mug, right? And I got this obviously back in. I don't know if you can see that. That's
it keeps coming in. No, I can't see that.
There.
Put it in front of your face, and then we can see it. There we go. There we go. Oh, look, you're all gone now. There we go.
Doesn't like my face. So basically, the Past Summit 2016, all the virtual chapter leaders got one of these, right? And as with what happens at conferences, this just sat in a drawer for about 4 or 5 years. Until the lockdown. So the thing is, right, what I didn't realise, I'm not going to open it up because it'll all spill out, but this is like a thermos flask cup. It is absolutely amazing. So I formulated my custom Starbucks drink in here. So this is probably part of the reason for my double chins. I've got 2 Mars bars in here, a big jug of milk, and a double shot of coffee, all stirred up. And then I've got some whipped cream on top, and it stays warm for hours. It's amazing. So let me take a sip.
Wow, and
that is beautiful.
That's like type 1 and type 2, all the diabetes in a cup.
Yeah, it is. The problem is, so I have been drinking these first thing in the morning, and the problem is by like lunchtime the sugar is worn off, and I've gone on a big a sugar dive, and pretty sure that I've nearly gone into a coma a few times. So yeah, I kind of have an emergency coffee with a sugar in it at lunchtime just to bring my sugar levels back up.
Are you sure you shouldn't just try and get hold of some insulin and maybe have a spare Mars bar just with, break glass in case you go into a diabetic coma?
I probably should do that, or alternatively stop drinking all this sugar. That might be the best approach. Nah. So I don't know. I have promised myself though this year I'm going to get healthy. So I'll start looking like you towards the end of this year. Promise.
Yeah, I was. I had a good couple of chins.
No, you've never had chins. You were meatier.
I did.
You were meatier, but you've never had chins.
That's when I had a bigger beard to hide the neck fat.
Okay.
So you'll actually see I've got t-shirts like this where my neck had actually stretched I mean, obviously my neck hadn't, but my head had, because my head was fatter. So all my t-shirts are all kind of really stretched around the neck, so they look really bizarre.
This is one thing that's really annoying me about getting bigger, though. It's the t-shirts, because I've got, I have some really cool t-shirts, but they're like every time I go the next size up, it looks okay. You go black to hide the fat. But the problem is the next few stone that go on and the t-shirt rides up and got to get a new t-shirt. So now I think I've gone from when I was about early 20s, I was on a large t-shirt. Now I'm on, I think even double XL doesn't quite do it. So I'm on American sizes now. This is annoying. This is really annoying. I've actually a company. I don't know if you've heard of GitKraken at all. So they do this really good tool for source control, and I've signed up to become a GitKraken ambassador. And one of the things there is they give you a GitKraken T-shirt if you do get accepted, which thankfully they did. The only problem with that is the highest size is a 2XL. So I know now, and this is an American company, I think. So I know now that's it. I can't get any bigger. This is my limit.
You say that. I mean, I said that, and so the reason for me losing weight was I was going to SQL Bits last year, and I was putting on my clothes as you do, and realised I'm going to need another bigger pair of trousers. So I had to buy some new trousers on the way over to Liverpool. Was it Liverpool?
Wow, that was a long time ago.
It was
2017 maybe?
Where was last year?
Last year. What was last year? Was that London? That was London, wasn't it? Last year.
No, London was going to be this year.
I know it was going to be this year, but I thought they repeated again. No, or was it? No, I don't know. I forget.
Was it Manchester? Could have been.
Yeah, it's Manchester.
Was it Manchester? Yeah.
Oh,
it was. Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because it was in the MEX.
That's right.
The old MEX, which obviously, for people our age, we know that from the James song, "Sit Down."
Yeah, I don't know if I went to SQL Bits last in Manchester. I went to the SQL Saturday the year before, but I can't remember it.
Were you not there? I can't.
No, I don't think I was, because I remember commenting about I was watching this video on YouTube about one of the Manchester canals being drained, and basically I don't know how the hell I stumbled across this video, and they basically found, not found, but they revealed a trap door to an underground river in the canal. So this was like a massive event that was happening. So one of the canal, I think, like you get train spotters, you get canal spotters as well. And so one of these canal spotters, he was like there for this event of the draining of the canal. And so he's filming everything, explaining about the lost river or lost stream in Manchester, which goes all the way under the city. It was pretty interesting. So anyway, I remember seeing that and tweeting someone up at SQL Bits at the time saying about it. I think it was Mr. Whittles, I think, probably answered that one. But yeah, it was interesting to me anyway.
Yes.
I've just killed a conversation.
Yes. I mean, I love a good canal story. So your background, is that your background, or is that how are you? If you
This
is that
one
a normal
is
one?
so. No, this one is one of the Microsoft ones. I do like Minecraft, I must admit. It was one of those games that everyone was playing it back in the day, and I thought, nah, it's rubbish. What's the point? So I think I was between contracts at the time, and I thought I'll try it out for a couple of days, and I was hooked. And I think I was off. I think I was off work out of contracts for about 3 months or so, just playing Minecraft. But I do like a good game of Minecraft.
Did you play the online version, or were you playing the actual game to get to?
No, I've never done the online, because I wanted to get good enough that I understood how to, do it online properly, build my own farms and whatever. But I imagine the online one, people come and destroy all your stuff, so that would have annoyed me as well. So
you didn't have to share your world. I mean, I don't know what stuff is like now, but if you really got, I mean, my daughters were into it at one point, so we had our own Minecraft server.
Yeah,
which I then had to add mods and other stuff too. But this was quite a few years. This is before Microsoft bought Mojang.
Oh right, okay, yeah.
So that
was a very long time ago then.
Yeah.
Probably talking about 6-7 years ago now.
Yeah. And I might have got a little bit hooked. It was a little bit of casual gaming. It was like, Daddy, oh, there's a zombie. Can you kill it for me? Okay, all right, go and kill the zombie. All right. Oh, there's a skeleton. Oh, can you go? Oh, there's a creeper. Can you go kill that? Okay. And then I would play it. They'd go to bed, and then I would play it a bit more. I'd get loads of stuff, save it in a chest or whatever, and then the following day they would play, and then they would die, and then lose all that stuff, and then I'd get annoyed with them because they'd lost all that stuff I spent ages collecting, all that gold.
Yeah, you had to have the routine though, didn't you? Where if you had the two players playing, that you'd have a chest, and that they would have to empty all their stuff before they left. So so when I first started Minecraft, my little boy, I think he was like 6 years old, and I remember that he used to get really, really freaked out when zombies used to attack. He'd fall down the gate or something. Yeah, he'd literally be screaming when it happened. They're trying to tell a 5 or 6 year old, look, it's just a game. It didn't seem.
Oh, right. Don't panic. Let's see if we can get him. I need one of those animated windows that we just go, there's a problem. All right, that's just me.
Oh, I think
you're back.
Yay. I don't know what happened there. Maybe it was my internet.
Well, it could have been mine. Let's just see whether we need to do anything. Let's go to chat. I can see you. Yeah, you're back. All right, now your background's gone. I can now be really nosy.
You can see my mess. So I could tell you, we're in the front room here. This light, I don't know which crazy person decided to put a light near the bay window. So that should be like, that's mental.
But that's how they used to be. Because
you think?
You would have the dresser, or you would have something in the bay window,
right.
And then that's where you would sit with the natural light coming in to work or do hobbies, and so that's where you would then have the artificial light above it.
I suppose so, maybe.
I mean, obviously, that doesn't count from the 50s or whatever onwards, but there was a tradition to kind of have it at the front, and then people moved it to the middle of the room because.
Oh, right. So on this side, I'm wiggling my mouse, thinking you can see my mouse. But
no,
you can't. So I'll talk about the side that's left to you. So on the left side, you see this brown thing, which is obviously the curtain where the bay window is. And then just over my shoulder, you can see this. This is a Indian mass that I bought in Seattle. So my wife always used to moan at me about never buying her any presents. And I don't know if you must have been at the Native American Indian shop in Seattle near Pike's Place Market. But anyway, so all their masks are horrendously expensive, and I think the one over my shoulder costs something like $2,000. something ridiculous. Yeah, it's really nice. It's a lot bigger than it actually looks there. Yeah. Anyway, my wife couldn't complain anymore about presents, and then you'll see a tiny bit of our iron bed, which we're probably going to get rid of sometime, and then to the far side, what's really weird. So if you see that brown thing that's going along near the ceiling, do you see that? There's like a brown, thin brown horizontal strip.
Yeah, looks like the bottom of a snooker table or something.
Yeah. So what that is, that's a picture rail. So the house I'm in, it's approximately about 100+ years old, and every room's got these picture rails, so they used to hang stuff off those things. It's really convenient. So hanging off there, I don't know why the hell it's hanging off there, is an outfit my wife made for my daughter about 5 years ago or 6 years ago for one of her school plays, which is one of the Alice in Wonderland characters. I forget which one that is. I don't know if you know the story of Alice in Wonderland, but anyway.
I've seen it on TV. I mean, I haven't read the book. I mean, I'm not educated. I don't read.
No, well, I don't know what it's supposed to be, but anyway, so I don't know what the hell that's doing up there. And then we've got you can just see some suitcases jutting out there. So anyway, a far more interesting thing to look at is Minecraft. So I'm going to go back into.
Feel free.
Back to actually, let's choose another one that I quite like.
Which have you not got an upload your own then? You've just got the.
I just can't get the thing working.
All right, there'll be a folder somewhere.
Yeah, I've seen a few. I've seen a few blog posts from certain people how to do it, but it just doesn't seem to work for me. So.
Oh, okay. When the next round of updates comes out, then you'll get it, because that's kind of we've had that internally for a while.
Yeah. So I have the ability to give a story about approximately any mundane piece of information. So for this picture, I can give you a story if you want it.
Go on. Actually, no, before we get into this, right? Let's go back to the bit that wasn't recorded, where you said that what you were going to do was you were going to come up with. Because in case I was incredibly poor interviewer, you were going to come up with a load of topics and interesting things you could talk about.
Yeah.
Got.
That's right. So basically, I was kind of thinking I don't want to come across as boring as I really am in real life, and I wanted to be kind of exciting. So I wanted to formulate some questions that I'd like you to ask me, and I was going to interject them in our conversation to kind of big myself up. So I was thinking about it, and then I start to think, well, I haven't got much time. 2, I couldn't really be asked, and 3, it's your job to do that anyway. So I've started, let you go for it. I mean, on reflection, it was probably a big mistake, but
Well,
no, I don't mean from. No, you said there's no bad interviewers, and I said to you, I disagree. I think that there is such a thing as a bad interviewee. So I'm your first one.
No,
maybe
no.
I'm not your first.
No. I mean, this is interesting. So when you interview different people, you've got to adapt your style. But for you, I could probably not talk. I could probably just let you. You could fill the entire half an hour without me interjecting too much.
If only I could commercialise that, though. I'd be on to a winner. See, this is my problem. I see all these technical speakers, and I think, oh my god, they're brilliant, and it'll be like their first or second technical talk, and I think they're amazing. And yet I've been doing it now for many years, and I'm my own worst critic. I think, oh my god, you're useless. But the problem is I start rambling. So I always warn the audience. There's always like a member of the audience where I'll say, like, if I start rambling, you need to give me a kick. So that's my kind of get out there. I probably could, I could talk for England maybe, but it'll be all nonsense and gibberish.
Yeah, so, well, I have the same affliction. I have to, sometimes in meetings, I have to stop myself. Otherwise, I could just keep talking. And best to let other people have a go. So, Mark, right. Let's do the first question. Sorry.
You don't want the background story then?
All right, we'll do the background story.
It'll be quick.
Go.
So when I was at primary school, myself and my brother, we had a couple of books on these kind of backgrounds, like futuristic, spaceshipy backgrounds. And anyway, we had a competition in my primary school for you had to. Somebody had created a spaceship out of Kellogg's boxes and toilet rolls, and the competition was that you had to give this spaceship a name. And so myself and my friend got together, and I thought I was in a massive advantage here because of these books that I had, because all these pictures in our futuristic books had names against them. So I forget what the name was that we used, but we plagiarized. It was something like Interstellar Queen or something for the spaceship. I thought it was onto dead cert to win the prize, which was probably a book token or something. Unfortunately, I don't think we were placed in that competition. So I've been aggrieved ever since. I think that explains why I'm the character I am. There's a few stories I could give you from primary school, but anyway, let's move on to your questions, because we could be here all day otherwise.
So, right. For what I might do is get you back. So, this is really quickly. This is season 1, and we're getting to the end of season 1. And I've realised there's about 30 of these podcasts in season 1, and what I might do, and I'll probably get you back, maybe just for a slightly shorter one. I'm going to buy some Rorschach tests and some ink blot tests, and just see what people see in them. And for you, I would be quite scared what's going to come up, but we've got a bit of distance,
Well, I could do the dead dog thing, couldn't I? From The Watchmen. So I'll save a couple of those answers for you.
Yes, you would. And unfortunately, I know exactly what you're talking about, because I am a significant fan of The Watchmen. Yeah. And yes, but as long as I don't steal your face, then that's the most important thing.
Well, we'll see how we go. I'm sure by the end of this you won't want me back, but if you're really short of guests, then feel free. I can be your Carl Pilkington, can't I, for your next series?
Yeah, I don't think I can't abuse you in the same way Ricky Gervais abuses Carl, because you wouldn't take it. You would just give me a load of abuse back.
I would, but I'll take it. I'll take my own abuse. This has always been my problem, that people do like dishing abuse, like including myself, but I tend to find that, I'm quite happy to take it, but when I start dishing it, people will get quite offended. So I used to have that with my mother-in-law, that she used to really have a go at me, and so I'd see that as the little carrot going for the kill, and she wouldn't speak to me for months afterwards after I'd got my own back with her. But, I learned to shut up after a while.
Yeah, some people can take it and dish it, and you need to be able to do both. If you can't, if you dish it and you can't take it, well, you do get what you deserve. So Mark, how is your lockdown?
To be honest, it's been going all right. So, I mean, as you know, I'm not really a people person. So not having people around is actually, it's my norm. It's not too bad. I'll tell you what's really been getting on my wick, and it's those little things like, I really fancy a Chinese tonight, or in fact, me and SQL Tomato on Twitter have been talking about this, like McDonald's breakfast. I'm going to go down to McDonald's and get a breakfast, and just not being able to do that is really getting on my wick now. And also, I think my family have started to get a little bit worried with it, and it doesn't help when my personality, where I'll sneeze and I'll go, "Oh my God, I've got corona," sort of as a joke. And my kids suddenly think I'm going to die like later that day or something. So, and I can't help myself as well. I keep doing it. My wife is getting really annoyed with me. So I think she's the one that's doing all the shopping. She won't let me go out to the shops because I tick all the boxes. I overweight. I have had some. Well, we thought I had some heart problems. Might still have. Don't know. I tick all the boxes for corona. So if I do get it, I'm probably going to be. That'll be my end of days, I think. So. What? So she's mega stressed about it all.
Well, as long as your life insurance is up to date and it's big enough.
That's another thing, right? Yeah. So, as you know, I went full-time employment mid last year, and that was one of the reasons, because as a contractor, you tend to just keep spending the money and not really planning for the future. And one of my biggest concerns, even though we had a little bit of life insurance, which I think sorts us out in the mortgage, we didn't really have anything else to my knowledge. And I've kind of got to the age now, I'm not too fussed about, I've seen a lot, I've done a lot, I'm quite happy, I've achieved a lot in terms of my family. Clearly my kids, I think, would want me still around, and my wife says she does, but I'm not sure if I quite believe her. But got a good insurance policy out now on myself. So because the wife doesn't earn anything, they'll be sorted. So I keep saying to them, don't worry about it. I'm worth more to you dead than alive anyway. So, my wife says, oh no, money doesn't count and all that stuff. But I say, well, you say that now, but when you're on your yacht and I'm 6 feet under, then, we'll see whether it matters. But so she gets quite annoyed about me joking about these things.
Well, I mean, I presume you've got death in service. You've probably got a certain multiplier of your salary that will also go to your wife.
Yeah, I think she does quite well. To be honest, if I was her, I'd be like praying for the end for me. To be honest, because it's good.
Are you your house is 100 years old, so I'm assuming
like that, yeah.
Either your stairs are really big or they're really small.
Quite
okay.
wide.
So if you ever see like marbles or stuff over the steps, then you got to worry.
Or maybe I could just throw myself down the stairs and just give them a big payout.
That doesn't. The problem with that is, what if you only just injured yourself?
Yes, it would be one of those situations, wouldn't it, where you're at the bottom of the stairs and your bone is sticking out of your thigh or something.
You got a compound fracture. You think, this is a bit like what's the James Bond spoof?
Austin Powers.
Yeah. It's Mustafa is the name of the character. Who's
I'm not dead yet.
I'm just in agony.
I'm still not dead.
Yeah, that'd be you at the bottom of your stairs. Going, if only I'd done this when they, before they went on a 2-week holiday.
It's only a flesh wound.
That's it. I'm horribly. I think in one of the films he gets tipped. The chair gets tipped over, and he goes, "I'm horribly burned." Oh yes, but apart from
so apart from that, lockdown, it's going all right. I'm remoting in every day to work, which is kind of more or less a norm anyway before the lockdown. My current gig though is coming to an end, so I don't know. It kind of puts a bit of pressure on you because I work for a consultancy now, so there's a bit of pressure there because if I'm just sat there doing nothing all day, I'm not earning them any money. So there's a little bit of pressure there, like what happens when I finish my current stint, especially if we're still in lockdown again.
But I presume you would be the equivalent of furloughed. Oh, they'll be claiming money for.
Well, they said they're not going to do furlough.
Okay.
I suspect. Well, I think they've said it because they've got cash reserves, and also I think they don't think it's be good for publicity. But I suspect that they couldn't even furlough anyway, because the nature of the business is that they call it being on the bench, and a lot of us are sat on the bench doing nothing whilst we try and find employees out there that need our services. So the argument is, if they furloughed us, it'd be like, is this something that's not normally happening anyway? You sat at home on the bench. It's really just a case of you trying to be productive and do training and all that kind of stuff being sat there. But I'm a pessimist. I expect the worst all the time, so I just want to stay off the bench and just be in work, just to doubly make sure. I don't know about yourself, but I've been made redundant twice in my life, and I think the first time wasn't too bad because I was moving quite a long way to where I am now, from central London. So it was kind of convenient then, but the second time was like, oh my God, what are we going to do situation. So yeah, I don't really want that to happen again.
No, and we know that we're of a certain age where finding work might be a little bit tougher.
Well, you might be, but I'm getting there slowly.
Oh no! I'm certainly thinking, right, this job, right, is the last one I'm going to have, because who's going to employ,
I know what you mean.
Old people.
Yeah.
When you've got young people.
Yeah. Well, you must remember, like me, working in companies where there were people there of our age and thinking, my God, how have you survived in this company? You're completely useless. And that so I once worked in an examination syndicate. I won't name their name, but that kind of shortens the list. And there were people there like that, similar age to me now. And I used to say to people, or people used to say to me about, they're just sitting there waiting for the pension to come in. Yeah. And a lot of them were, to be honest. But, I do wonder how many people are thinking that about me. It's like, that Mark, he's useless, doesn't know what he's doing, just waiting for his pension to come in.
Yeah, but you haven't been there. It used to be, so we're of the age where we remember people would work for a company for 20 plus years, and they would just be waiting for their 25 or 30 years, whatever. They could cash their pension in and leave, and then be on, 20%, 30% of salary, when final salary pension things were like, they existed. They don't. Yeah. No one would even know what they are now.
Yeah.
So, I remember seeing people at a bank I worked at, where there certainly were people just working out their last few years and not really giving a hoot.
So here's an interesting story about pensions. We shouldn't really talk money on public chat, but I worked at a company in central London when I was about 21, and not on a great salary. It was, we're talking multiples of 10,000, so it was fairly. It was an okay salary at the time, but obviously a long time ago. So anyway. So I think over the period of a year, this was the only time I've ever been in a pension, and I paid in something like, I thought it was like a couple of grand plus employer contributions, so it wasn't a massive amount of money, and nothing good ever happens to me, nothing at all, ever. So like the scenario is, if I ever, if it looked like I was going to get a massive inheritance, something would happen, like be a will to leave it all to the Batsy Dog's Home or something. Anyhow, so I got a letter the other day. I've had this pension where they're trying to chase my address down for years and years and years, saying, "Are you this Mark Broadbent?" And just not bothered responding. It got to the stage where they just decided I was that one person. And anyway, they sent me, it's changed hands, the people that own the pension, and sent me a letter the other day as sort of a statement of where I am. So, like I say, I thought it was like £2,000, £3,000 worth in there. Before this crash, it was £60,000 worth. So I opened the letter and I was like, this is yin and yang for you. I opened the letter and I'm like, my God, 60,000. And then I looked down, 6 months later, the statement where we are, 40,000. So I'd lost £20,000 in this, 5 seconds. But anyhow, I was well chuffed. So it just goes to show you, if I'd started saving up back then, oh my God, I'd be retiring now.
Yeah, I still I don't, but I still think the first house I bought, which was for 90 grand, I think I had a 60 grand mortgage on it, would have, and that was probably somewhere like almost like 25 years ago. That would have been paid off.
Yeah.
And
we were doing that with our first house. We're paying it. It wasn't a massive amount of money at the time. I think we borrowed something like 90,000, but we were paying. My wife and myself were both earning relatively good money, and we're paying, I don't know, 1,000 or a few thousand each month. And I'd kind of predicted that we're going to pay it off in 5 years. So when we moved, we literally had something like £20,000 left to pay off. It was amazing. And now I've had the same amount of debt on my current mortgage for the last 10 years because it's been interest free. So that's another thing. So this is a message to all the kids that are that are either watching this now or will be watching it, sort of start just paying little amounts now, because it really does add up. It's amazing how.
Listen to Uncle Mark's financial advice. Go on.
Yeah.
You can just repeat that, and we'll get this as a snippet out.
So I don't know about you, but I'm a big fan of Ricky Gervais, Carl Pilkington, and what's the other one? Who's the other one?
Stephen Merchant.
Stephen Merchant. So the series they did on XFM, I listen to that every single day. I'm addicted to it, and I have been for the last 5 or 6 years. Listen to several episodes a day, and there's a saying where Steve Merchant says, "Look after the pounds," and I can't remember which way around. So like, look after the pounds, and the pennies will look after themselves, I think is the phrase. So you got just be sensible with your money. Another pro tip here, financial wise. I have always been in the situation where, as a contractor, you earn fairly decent money. So, you'll issue a dividend, you'll pay off X amount of debt, all your credit cards will be paid off in a hit, and you'll have a few thousand sitting around in your bank, which will last you for a bit longer. And I always lived on this thing with, sort of a debt-based system where credit cards will be massive amounts every month, talking like £5,000 or something stupid every month, and then dividend issue, get paid off. I've got really sick of that kind of way of living, especially now I've gone full time, and I've decided that rather than putting stuff through credit cards, everything goes directly onto debit card, everything, unless I really need credit card protection. And so you're in that situation where you've gone from, you're basically on credit cards, you're basically forward paying stuff, aren't you? So I'll buy this now but pay for it later. Whereas when you do it on a debit card, you're not going to buy it unless you can afford it, or at least it reflects straight away in your bank account that you can't afford it. And I've done that now. So last month, I think both credit cards came to something like £300 to pay off. It was amazing. It was the first time ever that credit cards haven't dented my current account. It's brilliant. So yeah, with the lockdown, I'm slowly trying to build up my finances a little bit, because we don't know what's going to happen.
No, and I guess you don't have to travel into London, and
not at the moment.
So you're saving a fair chunk on travel, and
that's true. Yeah,
yeah.
But my company should pay for that now. So
okay, right.
Yeah.
So that you've got a home office then. So
yeah. Generally, I'll remote 2 or 3 days a week when it's not locked down.
Oh, okay.
But then I'll get travel expenses paid. That said, though, because I'm so disorganized, so I've got a company American Express card. So disorganized, I've paid for hotels and stayed various places and travel expenses and all these kind of stuff. And you even have overnight allowances. Put it all in the American Express card, and don't actually know the system of how to claim it back. So I got into a scenario there where I had a tiny bit of debt on there, and every month I just thought, well, it's not my debt, is it? It's my company's debt. So just ignored it for about 6 months. Finally, American Express ring me up, say, like, what the hell is going on with this? And I said, well, yeah, I don't really know how to claim this back. And I just couldn't be bothered to chase it up, to be honest, to find out. It was just too much hassle. So in the end, I just paid for it myself, just to save myself the hassle. But we're not talking thousands here, it's a few hundred. So I don't know. I do need to be more organised.
Muppet.
This is an age thing, isn't it, though? I think the older you get, the less bothered you are about sort of doing stuff. When you're younger, it's like every little penny you can claim. So I'm going to do that. Or if you do 5 minutes, I worked in a company once, you do 5 minutes overtime, you can claim an hour. So like nowadays, it'd be like, I'll do 5 minutes out. We'll call it quits.
Do a couple of, I mean, I don't... Is there such a thing as overtime anymore? Does that concept...
Not to me, no. But you know what I'm saying. Or if you're on call, when I used to be, I worked out actually, funnily enough. So I'm on a good salary now, full-time salary, and I worked out my very last full-time salary, which was about 10 or 15 years ago. I worked out with their on-call that they did, because it was the on-call was for the Oracle systems. For that, including my sort of base salary, I was earning more money then than I am now, which is incredible. So I don't know. it's incredible when you think about these things, and you get the money, you just spend it. So that's it, kids. Watch your money.
And if you do contract, remember to save stuff back for your tax, for your business.
The big one about contracting is pay as much as you can into your pension. That's where I went wrong, because it's tax. I think it's the first £100,000 is tax free. I think for the year, something like that.
Oh, okay. So change.
It's a massive amount.
Oh, I thought you always paid the lower rate of tax or something. There was something. So even if you earn a massive amount, when you did the pension stuff, that you never paid 40% off it. So effectively, if you pay off your pension, you put the money into the pension, you're not taking it out at the higher rate of tax or something.
Yeah, it's something like that. So if let's just say you on 100k, for instance, and I think 40% tax it's like 60 grand or something like that, isn't it? So let's say it's 60 grand, 40% tax. So what you don't want to be doing, or you don't want to be going over 60,000, I don't think. So basically, if you pay off 40,000 into your pension, then that's my understanding is that's pretty much untaxed, I think.
All right. See,
I think
every day is a school day.
Yeah.
Apart from children now that aren't in school, but every day.
But you don't want to be taking financial advice from me. I've just told you I didn't know how to pay an American Express card off. So
yeah, yes. You undermined your credibility, and then you added a load of stuff for your credibility.
What's weird though is you were prepared to listen to it though.
Well, if you say anything with enough confidence, I will sign up for the Mark Broadbent financial trading scheme. It's not a pyramid scheme. It's,
that's been a staple of my career. That has, you talk with confidence about something and people believe you. So I've kind of lived on that ethos that I'll just pretend I know what I'm doing.
But that's consulting, isn't it? Isn't that just...
I suppose. I had a friend, right? Unfortunately, he's passed away now, but we were childhood friends and didn't have an O-level or CSE to his name. Whereas me, parents put a lot of pressure on me to get these things. I wouldn't say I got amazing grades or stuff, but I was fairly academic, did fairly well. And by the time he was sort of 16, 17, he was earning megabucks because he had the gift of the gab. He could talk himself into anything. He could tell you he was good at something and you believe him just because he'd tell you, as you say, with confidence. That was a real lesson to me. I'm probably my worst critic. I'm quite negative about myself a lot of the time. I know I've had a lot of successes, but then I'll always talk it down to myself like, it's not really that good. It was like when I passed my MCM all those years ago, and I was on cloud 9. But then you start thinking, well, I didn't pass it first go. And you think, well, is it really that good? You needed another attempt to get the thing.
Not many people passed it, and hardly anyone passed first go.
I know that, but you think there's always a negative to my positives. And like I was saying to you, I see people giving their first ever presentation. I look back at mine and I think, oh my God, that must have been terrible for the people watching it. And look at other people's and think their first one and it'll be amazing. I've seen it time and time again. Yeah,
I guess you've got that black dog, as Churchill would say, constantly hounding you, telling you you're no good at stuff. But you are. I mean, you're quite good at most things,
I think the only reason that sometimes I feel good about myself, or better than I would do about myself, is my exposure to really incompetent people, of which there are a lot of them.
So is that just Schadenfreude, watching people fail?
Oh no, I'm sat there like wishing them to fail. It's difficult though, isn't it? It's difficult because I know one of my greatest failings, I may have even told you this before, in life is there's this little thing in my head, kind of a jealousy, and I'll see people doing really well and succeeding at stuff, and there's just this thing that I can tell you why this happened, but it's probably a longer story than we really want. It's from my childhood. But, I'm sort of sat there and I get a little bit jealous about it. I think, well, their success does not affect me in any way, shape or form. So I have to kind of snap myself out of it and just tell myself not to stop being so stupid. But I think because we all want to try and do as well as we can, don't we?
Yeah, I think it is quite a common thing, though, to go, oh, look, I want to do well, and look, someone else has done really well. I'm happy for them, but also, I wish they would die in a really horrible way. I think it's quite a natural thing to kind of go, oh, well, I'm happy they're doing well. I'm not that happy they're doing well because, but we don't want to admit it to ourselves that kind of that people would think that we're horrible people. But when you realise you're a horrible person, like I am, like last night I was talking to Benny, I'm a small-minded, petty individual who holds grudges. Yeah. I mean, you wouldn't want to cross me.
So I'm a bit like that, as I'm sure you know. I do hold grudges, but I can always get on with someone, and it gets to the point with me though where a grudge it could last 5 years, and then I'll say to myself, do you know what? I can't be asked. It's too much effort having the grudge. So I've had situations where I won't say who it was or why it happened, but someone seriously let me down, cost me a lot of money. And anyway, one day at an event, they basically came and like nothing had happened, sat down, started talking to me, sat down. I was with some friends, started talking, like, how are you and stuff. And I was like, the gall of this person. And I didn't bloody talk to them for, I was still fuming. It had only just happened. Because I'd even told them that they'd caused me a significant financial loss and it was on them and they had ignored it. And at the end of the day, like I'm, friends with that person again because it's a little bit of money. It's not that important. And, I don't know. They probably perceive events differently. I don't know.
Well, so, is it more effort? Is it more effort on your part? Is your life made worse by holding the grudge, or is your life better by holding the grudge?
I think grudges just weigh you down, don't they? In the end, and it's just counterproductive. They're destructive things to have. So I try not to these days.
Yeah,
but
you've got to have the occasional one.
I like a good grumble.
All right. Before we go any further, I have got some questions to ask you.
Rightio.
All right, and we're going to do the MVP. All right, before we get onto the MVP quiz.
Yes.
Mickey Robson. Oh, so people have been sending messages on Facebook with some links to where to change the images and stuff.
Right.
And are you looking forward to Newcastle buying all Chelsea's good players? But I don't know if that means anything to you.
Yeah, because they're getting. So the guy that's coming into Newcastle, that's got to be Chris Taylor that said that.
That was Mickey Robson.
Oh, Mickey Robson. Okay, so all right, yeah. So basically, I don't know if it's happened yet, but they're going to have a new owner. There's humanitarian issues with it, though. Got to say, but he's going to be. I think he's going to be he's something like the second richest person in Europe or something stupid. But yeah, I think he's got something like 500 billion to his name. Right. So where Chelsea's owner Abramovich, I think he owns something like 50 billion in assets. It's like 10 times that, or maybe even more. So the answer to the question is, I welcome the rivalry from Newcastle. And funnily enough, like Newcastle used to be talked about, like Chelsea used to be talked about. Went to many games where Chelsea were playing Newcastle, and were both what was known as sleeping giants at the time. And they are a really great club, and they've got a really great stadium as well. Their support is crazy. I've got a story about Newcastle fans as well, which we'll do another day. But
is that a better in-person conversation than a?
Okay, I'll tell you what. Stop me if I take too long. I'll take 10 or 20 seconds saying it. So
go on.
I went up. It was Newcastle versus Chelsea. Stood in the stadium, and you know how fans are, sort of giving it the large from the stand to the opposing attendees, the opposing fans. And so me and a couple of friends going, "Oh, come on," mouth, and. Anyway, so a couple of Newcastle fans, so they're like pointing to outside, and like, yeah, come on, kind of thing. And I'm fairly harmless, I don't really want to get involved in any of those things. Anyway, so we start to leave the stadium. There's always a mass of people. Never really an issue with seeing opposing fans. Anyway, these guys must have left early, and Newcastle fans don't take any nonsense. They're actually stood there waiting outside for us. So we did a very quick pulling up of the coat collar, flat cap over the top, like Andy Capp, walked out of the stadium, managed to get out there with our lives still intact.
Maybe they just wanted to shake your hands and just say good banter rather than glass you horribly.
But it was another lesson learned in life to, keep that shut.
All right. What's your favourite cheese?
Well, yeah. So as I've mentioned in my anger to, I think, Alex Whittles, it's Cambozola. I think it's probably my favourite. So it's one of these like soft greeny style cheeses. Funnily enough, right, I thought, given the name, you'd think it's Italian. And turns out it's a German cheese, which I didn't know.
All right, I'd not heard of that cheese, but I don't really do cheese.
I think it is derived from Italian cheese. Right. But yeah, it was invented in something like 1960s.
All right. We have been nattering for it's just past 8 now, so we've got to get through some questions, if you don't mind.
No,
we'll get through the MVP quiz.
Okay.
And then we'll do the who would you nominate to talk to me, and we'll do the emergency question. And I think you might like the emergency questions. Okay. All right, are you ready for the MVP quiz?
Go for it.
Are you sitting comfortably?
Yeah, but I can't promise to get them right.
All right. What does MVP stand for?
Most variable person.
Excellent.
That's me.
Is there a secret handshake?
It depends. There are definitely clicks.
All right.
That's all I can tell you, and I'm not part of them.
So I would ask you who the tallest MVP is, but we know, in your face, Alex Whittles, it's Benny.
Yeah, so I'm going to throw a curveball here. I think Benny, you're saying 6 foot, how much?
7.
Right. So I had this conversation the other day, actually, with on Twitter. Somebody was asking Jason Horner how tall he was, and I said that he's not an inch under 8 foot.
Okay.
And but I think he came back, and I think he's lying because I think he's far taller than this. But he came back and he said he's, I believe, 6'8". So that makes him the tallest MVP.
Oh, okay. Or he's 6'8" or 8 foot. If he didn't deny the fact he was 8 foot.
I think he's 8 foot, and
okay.
I've met him. I know him very well. I've met him many, many times. He's not an inch under 8 feet.
Is he the one who went round at Sequel Bit with a horse mask on?
Yes, he's been famous for doing that. There was actually a guy called Jason Strait. I think back in the 2010 Sequel Pass Summit. He was the first one to start doing that with a horse, and Jason has kind of taken on the mantle of wearing a horse's head, and it might even be a unicorn. I'm not sure, but yeah. So what Jason? I've been out drinking with him a few times. We had a famous one in New York, and you'll be at a club with him, and suddenly you turn around at the bar, and there's this guy stood there wearing a horse's head. He carries it around in his pocket. I'm not joking.
Is there a reason, apart from because he can?
I think it's just funny, to be honest. But the odd thing is the last time I saw him do it, it was at I think it was in Seattle a few years ago, and he did it, and the people that are with me, they didn't even seem to acknowledge that he'd done it. It was almost like it was we see people doing this every day. kind of scenario. It was not uncommon.
Yeah, I just imagine if he's had that mask for a while and a good few years, it's going to be a bit smelly inside, isn't it? And a bit. If you wear a latex mask, it's going to be quite hot. Not that I have experience of wearing latex mask, but I imagine that's what it would be like.
I mean, maybe he's like Prince Andrew and he doesn't sweat. Maybe we shouldn't go down that route. Yeah.
So saying that Jason Horner may have been a fighter pilot in a previous existence, and because how stressed he got, his sweat glands just magically stopped working, but did start working afterwards. Strange. All right. Do you get free parking
as an MVP?
Yeah.
Well, I don't.
All right.
I'm probably what you would call your bottom tier MVP, though. There's probably people like Paul Andrew, Mr. Happy, who probably you'd say he's a top tier MVP, and he probably gets premier parking outside Redmond.
What, the closer spots to the front of the building?
Yeah, exactly, right next to Bill Gates.
Okay. Does Bill? I didn't think Bill Gates even works there, so my references are totally out. Can you do me a quick favour? Can you say hello, Zara? Because I've just seen my wife has started watching.
Hello, Zara. Sorry for boring you.
Okay. Have you really got... Oh, no, sorry. What's the best free thing you've got while being an MVP?
I don't really know, to be honest. There must be something.
Well, I mean, other people have said clothing, the jackets, the bags, the credits, summit, meeting lots of lovely people.
All of those, of course. Okay. I'm going to give you a silly answer here, which is my best thing that I've ever had. It was actually an MCM gift. So when I passed the MCM, they gave us an MCM jacket, which, funnily enough, my one is probably the only MCM jacket left, which is pristine, mint condition, because it was slightly too small for me. So it's still not being worn. That's my target, to get down to a good size that I can wear it, and people go, "Oh, what's this MVP thing? That looks MCM thing, that looks interesting." But they also gave a bag, one of those like flat carry bags that you could throw over your shoulder. That was awesome. I think it may have fallen to bits now, though.
Yeah, the bags don't last very long. Good couple of years.
We did actually, talking about MVPs, I think the first year I became an MVP, Jennifer, I've forgotten her surname now, Jennifer, the lady that ran the MVP program, she kindly managed to get me one of the fleeces that were being given out to all the MVPs at the Summit for the Data Platform MVPs. They were so popular that all the non-data platform MVPs nixed them. So she managed to source me one and send it over to UK. So that's probably my favourite.
All right. So have you got Bill Gates' phone number or his fax number?
No. However, I did have his email address internally at Microsoft and was very tempted to use it at one time. I'm sure you see it on a list these days. Do you not? You're still with Microsoft, aren't you?
Yeah, I could probably find it. But
yeah, so when I worked at Microsoft for a brief time, you could kind of scroll down sort of the list of contacts, and Bill Gates, for some reason, was always ever present in the list. And I was seriously tempted on many occasions just to ping him an email and say hello, but I knew that would be the guillotine to my presence at Microsoft.
I mean, theoretically, we could add him into this Teams call. But
could, yeah.
I don't think it would go down.
You should try it. Let's see if he joins, and I can tell him my little anecdote.
Yes. The next question. Finish the story. 3 MVPs walk into a bar.
I'm not very good with jokes, so I'm not sure I can even.
You can say pass. You have to. You're better with anecdotes.
No, I'm sorry. I'm going to pass. Yeah, I am going to pass on that one.
Okay,
I can't think
all
of
right.
anything entertaining, even remotely.
And can you sneak me into the next MVP summit?
I think that should be pretty easy to do, to be honest. I think I could do that with you, especially you being a Microsoft person.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Now, if you were a non-Microsoft person, it would be harder. But I'm pretty sure that with my persuasive nature, I could talk you away. Let's do it. I'm sure I could do it.
All right, the next one is virtual, but all right, for the next physical one, if I'm still working for Microsoft,
yeah,
I will make it a thing, and we'll see if we can do it.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, 2 more questions. One coming from Richard Herring's emergency question book, and the other is, who should we talk to? So, are you aware of Richard Herring?
I know Richard Herring, but I'm not aware of the emergency questions.
Are you aware of his podcast, Relhestapa? Richard Herring's Leicester's
I've not really listened to it.
You can say no. No one else has ever heard of it.
Well, I'm hesitating because I'm getting old and my memories fade. What I don't want to do is suddenly turn around and say, "Oh yeah, I have listened to that," after telling you I haven't. So
that's fine.
I'm keeping my options open.
You can pretend. I would actually feel like validated if someone said they did know who he was. But it's fine. But
he's the one with long hair.
He was the one with long hair. Yes.
And he's slightly portly.
Yes. Yes,
yeah.
you do know who he is. So
who's the other one? He's got a partner, isn't he? The other guy. What's his name?
Stuart Lee.
Lee, that's it.
Stuart Lee. He's married to Bridget Christie, the other comedian, the one who dressed up as an ant and did a whole thing about Cromwell.
Oh right, okay.
But she's generally more. She was quite avant-garde at the time, but she does a bit more mainstream stuff. So you will see her on Have I Got News for You and stuff like that.
Yeah,
you won't see Stuart Lee on those, and you'll very rarely see Richard Herring because he's not allowed on television anymore.
Well, I've seen Stuart Lee moaning about lots of stuff this last 12 months or so. So on social media and stuff. So I tend to ignore him.
Do you read The Guardian? Because he's got a thing in The Guardian.
No, I don't. Let me just see if I can catch my cat for a second. Ugh. Can we see him?
Yes. Oh, back. There we go.
He's called. This is Titan.
Titan. That's an immense name. Compass.
Yeah, he's a big fella.
Sorry, my dog's trying to get out of the room because the door sort of.
Same here. That's what he's scratching at it. So
yeah, so stupid. Cute but thick as a brick. Unfortunately.
You talking about me?
The dog. We had a couple of criteria when we had a dog. It was that the dog couldn't be too big, couldn't need a huge amount of exercise, and couldn't be smarter than me.
So what's the dog then?
She's a Greek breed. She's a Konkoni. She looks like a small collie.
Oh right, okay.
Do you want to get up, Percy? Do you want to get up? No, because you're thick. Never mind. All right, back to where we were. If you pick a number, there's 1,001 questions in here, all numbered, 1 to 1,001, logically. So you pick a number between.
So I'm going to do 999.
I don't know if anyone else has done that, but we'll try that. So if people have got their emergency questions books, they can play along at home.
Oh, cool.
999. So sometimes it takes me a second, depending on how long the question is. All right, you might not like this, but we can pass. So you don't. These are not yes or no questions.
Okay.
So, can you tell me in huge detail about my religious beliefs, about your religious beliefs, on the condition you don't question? Can you please tell me in huge detail about my religious beliefs on the condition you don't question or contradict me? No, pick another one.
That's me talking about your religious beliefs.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, without questioning me.
So, right. Okay. So, I don't think that you are a religious man. I don't think, but you could. But you could surprise me. I think you're quite open-minded, but I think you thought about it, and you are. What I can't even remember what they call people that aren't don't believe in God. Help me out here.
Atheist.
Yeah.
Agnostic.
I don't think you're agnostic. I think you've had a good think about it, and you decided you are an atheist. I think for you, agnostic is not good enough because it's kind of sitting on the fence a little bit, and I don't think you really like sitting on the fence. Although your wife might contradict that statement. I don't know.
Interestingly enough, clearly there isn't. Otherwise, why would good things happen to bad people? But
it's all part of the greater plan. There you go.
His ineffable plan.
We can't. The answer is, isn't it, that you can't. The plan is so big that you just could not possibly fathom or understand why those things would happen. I'll tell you. So, in terms of myself, I'm still quite open-minded. I mean, there's a lot of people in our community, especially in America, who are very religious, and people who are infinitely more intelligent than myself. So I look at that and I think, well, there's something in it for those guys, and I'm sure that they do say that if you're born in, just trying to think of a good example here, but if you're born in, let's say, Japan, the chances are that you're not going to become a Christian. So I think that's one of the arguments, isn't it, that it's something that's really drummed into you from birth. But I'm quite open-minded. So if I have one of these experiences, like where suddenly Jesus appears to me and shows me the light, and even if it's me, my brain playing tricks on me, if it's real to me, then I'm open-minded and happy to, go with the flow. But when I was younger, I was a lot more, and you'll see this on my blog, actually. It's the reason it's called 10 Balls. It's based upon the 10 Ball story, which is a Buddhist thing. There's like famous wood carvings of these. It's the road to enlightenment. So I've always been interested in Buddhism, but again, I don't really. It's more the Zen Buddhism kind of thing. I don't really buy into the God thing, but I am quite open-minded.
But I didn't think Buddhism has a God as such. There's just the path to enlightenment, well,
it depends on the type of Buddhism it is.
Really?
Yeah, so I think the more Chinese. Well, even if you take the God thing out of it, so like this whole thing with Buddha attaining enlightenment, and that's kind of like. So I think at that stage you don't get reborn; you are just this all-seeing existence. I think, and there's although saying that there are. I think I'm contradicting myself here because there are reincarnations of Buddha, or supposed to be, and the next one I think, which is the current one, is it's called Maitreya. So they've even got the names ahead of time as well. Maitreya, I think, is a name for that. But I kind of don't really buy into all this mystical stuff, but I do buy into the power of the mind and all that kind of stuff, and that's where those synergies line up with me with Buddhism. I quite kind of like that. I think when you're trying to, it's even something as shallow as my weight, being overweight, and being disorganized, just having a better mental strength and more discipline physically, I think is a good thing. Sadly, I don't have them.
Yeah, I think there's lots of good things about, and people, I think it's statistically proven that if you are part of a religion, you'll generally be happier or whatever, because you've got people around you, you've got structure, you've got all this other stuff. But if ultimately you believe that most organized religions are based around power and money, it kind of would get rid of that. But the spiritual side, I think, is quite important, and us humans, we like that. We always fear the dark, the unknown, noises. No matter how rational you think you are, if you wake up and you hear noises downstairs, it's the bogeyman. It's primal to run away from things we're scared of.
Yeah, and this thing I was telling you about me not being a people person, I've always, like, I've had a few friends over the years who've been very religious, and I've gone to church with them. The funny thing was, I'd go to church with them on the Sunday, and then we'll go out to the pub afterwards and get absolutely mullered. But I've always kind of been envious with this, like the community that they had and the closeness that they had. And because I'm not a people person, I find that really hard to. I don't think I'd be able to do that unless I was really religious, because I just wouldn't want to do it either. But I can kind of see the benefits of having this closeness with other people.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah, I mean, I can see that. I'm just as. I think I'm just as antisocial as you. We're kind of.
You're better than me. You are definitely better.
I think most of us are introverted extroverts or extroverted introverts or something. I can't remember which is the right way round. That we have our own. We want our own space. We want our own places where we can just tell everyone to F off and leave us alone.
Yeah.
But then we go out and we stand on a mini stage, or we stand in front of 20, 30 people, or do something online, which is something that only an extrovert would do.
Maybe we're masochists.
I mean, part of me would go speak for yourself, but yes.
I always describe well, I guess it's technical people, but it's more the data community. I always say that the majority of us are socially inept, and I'm not necessarily including myself in that, but I think it's true. A lot of the time, I'll meet people and they'll totally blank me. There may be genuinely good reasons for them doing so, but I may have upset them. And often you think, oh God, I must have really upset so-and-so because they've just totally blanked me. But then I think, no, socially inept. They just don't know how to talk to people.
Yeah. And sometimes the first time they meet them, they're going to be completely frosty and they just won't know how to take you. And then the next time you meet them, they'll be absolutely cool and kind of, because they've got over that initial bit. Plus, some people want those boundaries, and some people don't expect other people to come up and have conversations. My first SQL bits, I think I only talked to one or two people. That
was Brighton, wasn't it?
That was Cardiff. No, not Newport.
Oh, Cardiff.
Newport, in that golf place.
In Brighton, you were the one, weren't you, that you did like a big map, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I probably shouldn't say this, but you really got on my nerves.
Yes.
I'll tell you what it is. I hate people being too over enthusiastic. And you're like, oh my God, with that map, you're like really OTT about it. Like, oh, where are you from? Oh, I'll get you on the map and stuff. And I should be really supportive and, encouraging. But it's just like, for God's sake, be a bit more miserable, please. It just annoyed me.
Do you know how hard it was to pretend to enjoy doing that? I spent the money on the map, on some other stuff, on some pins. I'd set it up myself, and no one was coming in to kind of interact because, as we've said, they're all socially inept and they were just seeing it. And so it's just like, I've got to go up to people to actually try and make this worth doing.
So are you saying then, if when you'd done that and I'd said, you're not really enjoying this, are you? Be honest. You'd have told me the truth, would you?
I would have just broken down because you would have. I would have just been weeping into my hands at that point because you would have cracked through the thin veneer of me being a nice person.
I did enjoy Brighton, though. It's one of my favourite SQL bits, I think. Beautiful weather, if you remember. I remember, because I think my session was first one in the morning, 8 o'clock, and I actually got a really, really good attendance for it. It was a really big room as well, which was a real surprise. And did my session, had a quick walk on the beach, then went off for breakfast. It's a lovely breakfast. Then went back to the venue. Awesome event. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah. I had to drive to and from Southampton every day. So that kind of just put a bit of a damper on it because
not too far though, is it, Southampton?
It was an hour and I think it's only 60 something miles, but it took over an hour and stuff because the roads weren't particularly great. Not like it was just popping on the motorway. Well, I'm going to have to go
Okay.
because I've got some stuff to do. It has
Rightio.
been really fun catching up with you because the last time I caught up with you was in...
Well, we're kind of split on the train, wasn't we? From
Yeah.
Edinburgh to wherever. Yeah, we couldn't sit together, sadly.
It was, but it was unfortunate.
Yeah.
But it was...
Well, I'm sorry for boring you to tears, but I appreciate you having me on your show.
No, you're not boring me to tears. I am just going to wet myself. That is the main reason why I have to go. That's the other thing about age. The bladder the size of a walnut. If you ever travel in a car with me, we're stopping at every services, dude. Every services.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's the same for you, but I'm getting so lazy in my old age, I can't even be bothered to stand up when I go these days. This is probably too much detail for doing publicly, but no, I'm a total sit-down man these days.
I've been sitting down for years because it's a nice rest.
And my father-in-law, he's actually got I went to his house the other day, and well, obviously before the lockdown, and he's put a seat in his shower. And I saw it, and I said to him, like, that is genius. Imagine it. You can just have a shower and sit down. That's genius. So that's my ambition in life now.
Do you know, when you get a bit older, that's what you get. You get like a walk-in shower and a seat, and then you can just, sit there and wash your wrinkly old body without having to stand.
Well, just imagine if you could have, this is the next line then for commerce, waterproof books. So you go into your shower with your seat, read your waterproof book. You can be in there for hours. There you go. That's got £1 million written on it.
It has. I can see certain physical challenges with that. Now, before you go, who do you think would have a nice chat with me?
What, anybody?
Well, anyone that would come on the podcast, they've got to be able.
Come on.
Yeah, you can't say, Boris Johnson would. You'd have a good chat with him, or Annika Rice, or
there are so many people that I could name, and lots of people would probably be offended if I didn't name them. I'll give you a few. So Nico Nugebauer is probably probably the most obvious one for me to recommend because we are very good friends. The other, so you've got Ivan Campos as well, who's the Porto SQL Saturday guy, who I'm also very good friends with in Portugal. But a real character is a chap called Rubens Patusa, I think is how you pronounce his name. Good friend with him. He runs the Madrid SQL Saturday. He's a really funny guy, young guy. But there's just tons of people. I could give you a massive list.
Well, I'd say only need one. And actually, I haven't talked to Nico for ages.
Yeah,
but
he would be a good one.
I'll put the other ones down and see whether they they accept. Well, thank you for spending the evening with me.
Thank you very much.
It's been lots of fun, and hopefully we've had quite a few people watching. Neil Hambley was just saying he liked Brighton because was there. Wozniak.
Oh yeah. Well, the only reason Neil has raised that is because I remember Neil being in the final of the, if I remember correctly, the Fusion IO competition. So that's what he's doing. I know your game, Neil. Just trying to get to mention that how great Neil is. So, yes, well done, Neil. You're in the final.
And on that note, I think we should say goodbye to everyone before we start going, and another thing.
No, I do love you, Neil. Bye-bye.
Who else have I got? Yeah, and another. That Michael Robson. Yeah, and another thing.
I can't say anything about Michael so far. He's only been good to me. I'm sure he said bad things about me behind my back, but I've not heard them yet.
Who have I had? I can't think of any. There's so many people that I must have upset. I just can't think of anyone to single out.
I've got a massive list of people I upset. People will even tell me about people that they don't like because they've ignored them or whatever. And then every time somebody says something to me, I'll be like, oh yeah, they hate me. nearly, they hate me because da-da-da-da-da. So nearly every single time. I don't know. I've just kind of grown used to it, upsetting people. You just gotta move on, as I say.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for your time. And
my pleasure.
And bye-bye, everyone. And bye. Love you.
Love you too. Bye.